Hi everyone, it's Lindy on here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought we'd make this fun little party card using these cute little kittens, and these are from the brand new Art Impressions Feline Set. So let's go ahead and get started. So for paper today I'm using the Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, and I'm also using the largest die from these dies from Art Impressions, and these are the rectangle A2 double stitch dies. And again, I'm using the largest one. I'm going to die cut 2 of these panels. I'm placing it on a little bit of an angle just to make it easier to run through my die cutting machine, and that'll give us that nice stitch border all the way around. I just need one of these for now. Then I'm going to my oval double stitch dies, and again I'm going to that largest one. And I'm going to be creating a couple little grassy areas for the bottom of my card. So I'm going to use this panel so that I can die cut 2 of these. So I'm placing the oval at the bottom corner of the panel, and I'm just going to die cut one of the little grassy mounds here. And then what I'll do is flip that panel around, and then I'll die cut a second one. So that'll fit right in the corner of the card here. Now I need one for the other side. So I'm just kind of using this as a way just to create a couple little grassy borders here. I'm just running that second one through, and that'll leave that stitched edge on the bottom and the sides as well. So now we'll have stitching all the way around that grass. Now for this panel, I'm going to be inking it up with some Distress Oxide inks in the brand new Crackling Campfire, the ripe persimmon, and the mustard seed. I'm using my foam applicator tools, and I'm going to start with that Crackling Campfire, which is a brand new color, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it goes really well with these other 2 colors. You'll see that it's going to blend really nice with these 2 colors. So I'm just determining about where I need that sky to begin. And I'm just laying down a nice thick coat of this color right here at the bottom. Again, just checking to make sure I have enough here. Then I'm going to the ripe persimmon, and I'm going to blend these 2 together. And these do look very similar right now, but when they dry, you'll see a nice difference between these 2 colors. And then I'm going to the mustard seed, and I'm going to blend that into that ripe persimmon. So I'm just going to push that mustard seed down into that ripe persimmon color and just blend those really nicely here. And again, just checking to see, I want a little bit of a shadow right there at the top of that grassy border. So now that that looks good, I'm going to spritz that with a little bit of water from my Distress sprayer. I'm going to blot that off with a paper towel, and that's going to give us this pretty little spattered effect. I'm just adding a little bit more water here and there, just to add a little bit more of that spattered look. Now for the grass, I'm using Twisted Citron and Rustic Wilderness. And the Rustic Wilderness is also a brand new color. And this is also really pretty. It's a beautiful green. It's a nice deep green. So I'm starting with the citron, and then I'm coming in with this Rustic Wilderness, and I'm going to apply it around the 2 sides and up from the bottom a little bit. And then what I'll do is go back to the Twisted Citron applicator and just blend that out. I want to leave the top of the grass the lightest. So now I'm going to take that Rustic Wilderness, put a little bit on my glass media mat, spritz it with a little bit of water, and then I'm going to spatter these 2 panels. This is going to give a lot of texture to the grass here. And here's where you'll really see how pretty this color is. Now I'll heat set that with my heat tool, and you can see those are going to sit right at the bottom of this panel. Now these are these cute little cat stamps. These are just adorable. I love the one in the birthday cake. We're going to be using Let's Pawty and the 2 little kittens at the bottom there. And this is from the brand new Feline Set. So the next stamp set we're going to be using is this one here. And this is called the Lovable Animals Set. We're only using 2 images from this set. We're going to be using that flower there and that piece of paper, that curled piece of paper. And for the third set, we're using the flower from this little birdhouse set. This is the Birdhouse Cubby set, and we're using the smaller flower. I've placed these in my mini Misty stamp positioner. We're going to stamp 3 of the pieces of paper and 5 of each of those flowers. And I'm using my VersaFine Onyx black ink to do my stamping, and again the Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. So I'll go ahead and stamp those extra images that we need. Now for coloring, I'm using light pink and brick beige. I'm adding a little pink to the cheeks first and the paws. I'm using my blender pen to do my blending here, so I'm just scribbling it onto the scrap paper just to make sure it's clean. And when you scribble it on your scrap paper, when it goes clear, you'll know that it's clean and ready to change to the next color. So I always check that first before I go to my paper, just to make sure I haven't left any ink on it from a previous project. And then with that brick beige, I'm just going to add some shadows here and there. I do want to keep this little kitten fairly light colored. So this little kitten looks like he's laying on the ground, but I thought he looked like he could be hanging from something. So I thought he would be really cute hanging from the little clothesline that we're going to create. He looks mischievous to me, so I thought that's what we would do here. So I also want to mention that you could blend these colors out with a water brush. Either way works fine, so play around with the technique that you like the best. I do find that the Strathmore Bristol Smooth paper works the best for me as far as for blending. Keeps the ink floating up on top of the paper long enough for me to do all of my blending. So again, I'm just doing simple coloring here. With dark oatmeal and oatmeal, I'm going to go ahead and color this next little one in. Starting off with the oatmeal and a little pink on the cheeks again. And then I'm adding that dark oatmeal. And you can do this all at one time and then do your blending, or you can do it separately. You can start with the light color, blend that out, and then add your darker tones. Either way works just fine. So just again, play around and see which way you like it the best. And I'm just going to pull in towards the middle here and just kind of keep that the lightest. And I'm just scribbling. If I get too much ink on my blender, I'm just scribbling onto the scrap paper just to remove a little bit of ink. Now with violet, I'm going to color in these little curled pieces of paper. And again, I'm using these as little towels for my clothesline. I just look through all my stamps. This is a great way to stretch out the images that you already have. Just dig through and see what you have. See what you could use. Sometimes you'd be surprised what you find, because I never would have thought of this until I was looking for something to hang on the line. And then I realized these little curled pieces of paper would be adorable for little towels. Now I'm going to use that same violet color for my little flowers, and I'm going to color these all the exact same way. And I'm using a little bit of yellow in the centers. With deep green, light green, scarlet red, and yellow, I'm going to color in all of these flowers here. Starting with the lighter green, then going to the deep green, and then adding a little bit of yellow here to just to give a highlight here, and then I'm blending those 3 together. For the flower, I'm going to start with that scarlet red in the middle, just putting it on one side and then just pulling it over. And then with the yellow and a little bit of that scarlet red just right around the centers of the flowers, I'm just going to pull out towards the edges. And here is where you do want to kind of clean off your blender pen just to keep it so that the tips of the flowers remain light. So just keep dabbing that off on your scrap paper and blending that out. So now I've grabbed the coordinating dies, and this set, most of their sets now have the coordinating dies, which I just love. That just makes this so much easier. So I'm grabbing the coordinating dies for all of these images, and I'm taping them down with a little bit of purple tape. I'm going to run those through my Sizzix Sidekick machine. The only one image that I don't have a die for are those little pieces of paper. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut those, and I'm following the lines of the stamp to do my cutting. And these just took a couple of seconds. They're really easy to cut out. Nothing intricate or tricky here. Now with my Uniball white gel pen, I thought I'd make all my little towels look different. So for this one, I'm just putting a couple stripes on the top and the bottom. And then this one, I'm going to make the whole thing striped. And when I colored these in, I just kept the center of the towels the lightest, just to kind of create some shadows as they would be blowing in the wind here. And then for this one, I'm just going to add some little simple polka dots. I'm adding a few little highlights to all of my other images here, to the little cats. And then I added a few little dots in the center of those flowers. And then on the larger flowers, I'm just going to add some little polka dots in those as well. And then a few little highlights on the stem and on the leaves. And this really does make a big difference. It just adds a little more interest here. So now the sentiment I'm using is the Let's Pawty, which is so cute. We're going to use that, and that's from that feline set that we used before, that we got the little kittens from. And I'm stamping it at the top on the center of this panel. I'm using the VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I'm just going to stamp that a couple of times just to make sure it's nice and dark. So once I did that, I've got a standard A2 size top folding card, so it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now that panel is going to fit on that card exactly. So now I'm just going to lay out my little kitten here. Now what I want to do is create a couple little slits here. So I'm just coming in at the bottom of the paw there on both sides. Just kind of creating a little slit here where I'm going to be placing some baker's twine in this. And I'm using a lavender and white baker's twine. And this is from American Crafts. So I'll list all these products down below for you as well. But any baker's twine you have will work just fine here. And I'm tucking it underneath the paws. Just going to kind of make it look like he's hanging there. So just kind of tuck it into those little slots. And now I can just lay out my other images. So I'm going to have one towel on the left side and 2 on the right. So I'm kind of shifting him over to the left a little bit here. So to position him down, I'm going to use a little bit of my Scotch foam mounting tape. I'm just removing the backing, and then I'm going to position this on the card. Once I have this positioned down, then I can determine where my little baker's twine is going to go. So I kind of want it to go up right up to the corner of the card. I'm just shifting this just a little bit more just to straighten him out a little bit more here. So that's going to wrap around to the back. I'm going to place a little bit of my score tape. This is the 1/4" score tape, but any tape you have here would be fine. I'm just putting a couple little pieces down here just so that I can wrap that twine around to the back. And again, I kind of want it to go up to the corner there, a little bit above or below, it doesn't matter. And I want to leave it a little bit loose so that it looks like it's hanging down. And then I'm just going to snip away the excess. So now I can go ahead and position the little towels on the clothesline. I'm going to use some foam mounting tape at the bottom here, and then I'll use a little bit of glue up towards the top, just so that baker's twine stays attached to this. So I'll put a little bead of the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive right along the top edge of the towel. And then I'll just attach that. And I'm going to do the same thing for these other two. So again, just adding a little bead of glue at the top. That's just going to hold that twine. So now I can go ahead and attach these little grassy borders down at the bottom here. Just trying to figure out how I want those to be positioned. I'm going to attach it with that same Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I'm not putting glue right up to the top because I might want to tuck a few of the little flowers down inside there. So I'm just leaving a little room so that I can do that. Now I can go ahead and tuck these flowers in. So we have 5 of these. I'm going to put 3 on one side and a couple of them on the other side here. I'm going back to that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and I'm going to attach these. And for that front one, I'm going to add a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to put some foam mounting tape at the top of the flower and glue down the bottom of the flower. And again, that'll just give us a little dimension there. And I'll do the same thing for this second flower here, adding a little foam adhesive and then some glue. Now I've got my other little kitten, and he's getting quite a kick out of the other cat there. He's having a good laugh. So I'm popping him up with a little bit of the foam tape. And then I've got these 5 little flowers, so I'm just going to add these down at the bottom here. And that just brings a little bit of that violet color down towards the bottom of the card as well. And I'll pop up a few of these. Just repositioning that one just a little bit here. So now I can go ahead and attach this to my card base. I'm using my ATG 700 tape dispenser. This is a really strong adhesive and I'm putting plenty of that on there. And this is going to fit exactly on the front of the card. Just checking that my twine is exactly where I want it to be. Now I did decide I wanted to add a few little clothespins to these towels. So I just took a scrap piece of craft cardstock and I'm simply just going to cut some little tiny rectangles, and those will be the little clips for the clothesline, the little clothespins. And I don't mind if they're different sizes. I think it makes it a little more whimsical, a little bit more fun. And I'm just putting them on different angles just to, again, make it look more whimsical. So I'm just going to position those and then I'll glue those down. So I went ahead and attached all those. And let me give you a closer look at the finished card. This little kitten is just so mischievous and cute. And I love the other one too, just getting such a kick out of this. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.